from shop shelves and be replaced with plain packaging, carrying just a large health warning. The Health Secretary, Andrew Lansley, is launching a consultation on the government's proposals and is encouraging the public to say whether it thinks it will discourage people from smoking. Let's get the views then of Amanda Sanford from Action on Smoking and Health. Ash, she's in our central London studio, and joined by Mark Littlewood, the Director General of the Institute of Economic Affairs. So, same question to both of you, really, I suppose. Mark Littlewood, do you think it'll make any difference?
No, it won't make any difference. You can ask people what sort of packaging they prefer, but there's no evidence to suggest that that actually determines whether people take up smoking, particularly kids, which this is aimed at trying to deter. If they do go ahead with plain packaging, it will be a great boon to the black market and organised crime, who have to presently deal with nearly 200 different types of cigarette pack. If they want to fake them, this would make it enormously easier. So if we are concerned about kids smoking, and we should be, we're much better to actually take a more liberal approach, to look at education, to look at enforcement, to make sure there are serious penalties for selling cigarettes to kids, not actually treating the entire population of the United Kingdom like children. And we've got to, I think, just take a step back from the persecution of smokers. This is a ludicrous idea with no serious evidence to back it up. OK, well,
we're keeping it to that. I mean, some there of what you said, I'm sure Amanda Sanford would agree with, particularly on the issue of education when it comes to young people taking up smoking. But on the narrow issue of packaging, Amanda Sanford, why do you presumably think it would make a difference?
I think it will make a big difference because there is already good research to show that children are clearly influenced by advertising and marketing, and this is a form of marketing clearly on the packs. The branded packs detract from the health warnings, and they also send out misleading messages suggesting that some brands are more or less harmful than others, when at the end of the day all cigarettes are harmful. And on the issue of counterfeiting, there's no real need to worry about that, because the cigarette plain standardised packs would still require health warnings. They still require the duty paid marks and all the fiscal requirements and all the requirements to show that it's a legitimate product. It's very easy to counterfeit cigarettes already, we know that, but having the cigarettes in plain standardised packaging wouldn't make any difference. But it would make a difference in terms of reducing the appeal of cigarettes to children.
But, I mean, when we're talking about young people, isn't one of the drivers, staying with you, Amanda Sanford, isn't one of the bigger drivers of them taking up smoking, it's not the pretty designs on the packs, it's social factors, peer pressure and things like that?
Well, certainly, I mean, if parents are probably the biggest single influence. If parents smoke, the children are 2 to 3 times more likely to take up smoking themselves. So it's really important that parents are aware of that and try to quit. But there are lots of different factors which influence smoking, and marketing and advertising are clearly one of them. We have the tobacco advertising ban. That has made a big difference. It has helped to drive down youth smoking rates. This is the logical next step. We'll put cigarettes out of sight in shops. The next step must be to take away the glamorous imagery and all the glamour that goes with cigarettes, which suggests that to children they are appealing.
I really defy Amanda to find anyone who will say, you know what, I started smoking because I couldn't resist the gold leaf that I saw on a cigarette packet when I visited the newsagent. It's quite preposterous to suggest that. Amanda refers to the display ban. That's just come in. So all of this stuff is now behind shutters in supermarkets, not on public display. And you know what, if we want to be rational about this and take a step back and really look at the evidence, not trying to second guess how people would act, we can just actually see how this pans out in Australia. They've brought in plain packaging, so why don't we just take a step back? Let's not waste this money on some ridiculous public consultation. Let's look at what happens in Australia over the next 2 or 3 years. And if it turns out that Amanda is right, that amazingly kids stop taking up smoking, that incredibly the black market don't find it any easier to replicate one standardised cigarette packet rather than hundreds, well, OK, she might have a case. But Australia have offered to be the guinea pigs.
OK, just on that point, very quick word, Amanda Sanford.
Well, it's good that Australia has gone ahead with plain packaging. I think the evidence is very clear already that it will help to deter children from smoking. We shouldn't wait for that. We should go ahead as well and follow Australia's very good example.
OK, must end it there. Thank you both very much, Amanda Sanford and Mark Littlewood. Now, coming up on Sky News, we've dodged a